Sir Topham Hatt N by the Reverend W. V. Awdry. In the first two books in the series he is known as the Fat Director. In the third book he becomes the Fat Controller, as the railway has been nationalised. His full name is revealed in the foreword to the book Henry the Green Engine. Sir Topham Hatt also appears in many episodes of the television series Thomas and Friends, adapted from the books. In this he was usually portrayed in the form of a static figure, but from Series 12 onwards was portrayed using CGI. The name or term Fat Controller has since been adopted in various contexts in the English language, beyond the sphere of the original stories. Origin of nickname: the character is first seen in the sad story of Henry in the first book in the railway series, The Three Railway Engines. When Henry refused to leave a tunnel, the story says a fat director who was on the train told the guard to get a rope. The character is referred to as the Fat Director Controller for the remainder of the railway series, both in the narrative and by the other characters. The name Sir Topham Hatt is first mentioned in the foreword to Henry the Green Engine and also appears on his luggage trunk in the same book in the story Percy and the Trousers. The first use of the name Sir Topham Hatt in the narrative comes in the episode The Sad Story of Henry when Ringo Starr introduces him to the audience. Biography: there have been 3 Fat Controllers. This is not revealed directly in the stories, as they all look very similar and are all known as Sir Topham Hatt. However, the books The Island of Soda, Its People, History and Railways and Soda, Reading Between the Lines make this clear. The Fat Controller. First BT equals, he was a talented engineer who was apprenticed with Sir William Sternier at the Great Western Railway's Swindon Works, which gave him a great love of all things Great Western. He went on to assist Awdry in the construction of the Tidmouth, Knapford and Elsbridge Light Railway, which became Thomas Branch Line, and designed the locomotives that ran upon it. When the standard gauge railways of the island were merged into the North Western Railway in 1914, Topham Hatt was called upon for his engineering skill. He constructed a bridge to link Soda with the mainland, as well as a number of branch lines and improvements to locomotive facilities. He was immediately made a director of the railway. Topham married Jane Brown and fathered a son and a daughter. Jane was sister to Sir Handel Brown, Liberal MP for Soda East and owner of the Skarloey Railway, making all successive descendants of the two railway families cousins. Charles wed Amanda Crowry, daughter of the owner of the Farquhar Quarry Company, and Barbara married Henry Ragaby, the Viscount Harwick. In light of this, Topham's family unit can be seen as an alliance of several of the most prominent families in Soda. When the North Western Railway was nationalised and became part of British Railways in 1948, Topham Hatt was made controller of the railway. 1948 also saw him made a baronet for his services to the railways of Soda. This Fat Controller appears to be the one shown in the series. The Fat Controller, second BT equals, Charles Topham Hatt was the son of the first Sir Topham Hatt and the second controller of the NWR. He too served an apprenticeship with Sternier, this time working under the locomotive designer. Like his father, he was an innovative engineer and made a number of improvements to the railway and its engines. He was also the originator of the scheme to construct the Arlesdale Railway and the ballast consortium that used it. He was responsible for the line's policy of retaining steam locomotives long after they had been abolished on the rest of British railways, and while Dr. Beeching was closing down branch lines on the mainland, Charles was reopening them on Soda. The Fat Controller, third BT equals, Stephen Topham Hatt was first seen as a child in the book Toby the Tram Engine. As an adult, he was made the third controller of the North Western Railway. His son, Richard Topham Hatt, is tipped to be the next Fat Controller and on Stephen's death will inherit the family's baronetcy and the title Sir Topham Hatt. Biography: in the television series, the Fat Controller is always the same man, with the same wife and grandchildren. He is in his mid-40s, although his voice in the UK versions sometimes hint at old age, and he has even appeared with a white moustache in certain episodes. Very little of his history is revealed, although we do see more of his extended family, including his mother, and his mischievous brother. In the first season, he and all the other human characters were made out of lead. From the second season onwards, they were made out of resin so they could move around more easily. He is shown to be a qualified railway engine driver when he brings Percy to the yard for the first time. He is in charge of all the engines on Soda and seemingly has a great deal of say over other vehicles. As a young man, he learned to drive in Elizabeth the vintage Sentinel lorry. He has overseen the construction of a number of lines, railway services, and has been involved with the opening of several tourist attractions on Soda. UK narrator Michael Angelis portrayed the character with a strong Yorkshire accent, with a low gruff voice, a trait of which has been continued when Pierce Brosnan briefly took over the mantle, and also when individual voice artists were brought in to voice the characters. In the American version, he has always been referred to by his actual name, Sir Topham Hatt, possibly because fat is a much more pejorative term in the US than in the UK. The Fat Controller's name was revealed to be Bertram by Alicia Botti, the famous opera singer, in the series' 13-episode Playtime, and by his mother Dowager Hatt in the series' 13-episode Percy's Parcel, the series' 14-episode Jitters and Japes, and the series' 15 episodes Edward the Hero, and Stop That Bus. Mode of dress: in his iconic top hat and morning suit, the Fat Controller looks rather old-fashioned and formal. However, until at least the late 1950s it was customary for railway officials in Britain to be so dressed. For Sir Topham to be dressed any other way would be far more unusual. In the television series, Sir Topham's suit has often been used for comic effect, being augmented with scarf and mittens in winter. The series plays on the outdated nature of this outfit, giving Sir Topham an entire wardrobe of old-fashioned and formal clothes for occasions when he is not on duty. In the series' 8-episode Halloween, he is shown wearing pajamas and a nightcap, and in the series' 9 and 10 episodes Flower Power and Sticky Toffee Thomas he is briefly shown wearing a wizard costume. In yet another episode, he is shown wearing a kilt, a gift from a visiting Scottish lord. In various CGI episodes, he dresses like Santa Claus. Sir Topham's household. Wife, Lady Hatt. Lady Jane Brown Hatt helps her husband run the railway, and is happiest when she sees new lines opened, and has had some special birthday parties. She likes the railway, but had a certain dislike of Annie and Clarabelle, calling them beach huts. Later, she took a liking to them, after they got new coats of paint. Although her husband runs a railway, she likes a day out on a boat or in their car. Mother, Dowager Hatt. Dowager Hatt visits Soda occasionally, and on her first appearance in a TV episode, her son held a party for her. On this occasion, her Dalmatian dog ran away after being frightened by Gordon's whistle, and ended up in Thomas' cab, where he greatly enjoyed a long ride to the docks. She says the railway is really useful, and the Fat Controller says she is always right. Dowager Hatt has appeared in Series 5, Gordon and the Gremlin, Series 6, It's Only Snow and Thomas the Jet Engine, Series 9, Thomas and the Birthday Picnic, Series 11, Percy and the Left Luggage, Series 12, Excellent Emily, Series 13, Percy's Parcel, Series 14, Jitters and Japes, Series 15, Gordon and Ferdinand, Percy's New Friends, Edward the Hero, Up, Up and Away. Stop That Bus. Wonky Whistle, Tree Trouble and Fiery Flynn, Series 16, Express Coming Through, Percy and the Monster of Brendam, Thomas and the Sounds of Soda, Muddy Matters and Happy Birthday Sir. Series 18, Toad's Adventure, Millie and the Volcano and Samson Sent for Scrap, Series 19, Diesel's Ghostly Christmas and the Beast of Soda. She is the only member of the household to originate in the television series, never having appeared in the books. Grandson, Stephen Hatt. Stephen Topham Hatt lives on the island of Soda, and regularly has outings and holidays with his grandparents and his sister. Stephen loves trains, and was excited when he first met Toby the tram engine. Stephen also has a bit of knowledge about the island, of which is the reason they discovered the old castle and the mine. In the railway series, Stephen ultimately took the railway over, and is the current Fat Controller. In the television series he has always remained a child. Granddaughter, Bridget Hatt. Bridget Amanda Hatt lives on soda, and regularly goes for outings and holidays with her grandparents and her brother, Stephen. On one occasion they went to Toby the tram engine's old line, where she thought Toby was an electric tram and was reprimanded by her brother for offending him. Her parents are Charles and Amanda Hatt. Brother, Topham Hatt Sir Topham Hatt is the jolly brother of Sir Topham Hatt, the son of Dowager Hatt, the great-uncle of Stephen and Bridget Hatt, and the brother-in-law of Lady Hatt. Sir Topham Hatt is mischievous and enjoys playing with the children. He seems to know little or nothing about railways. He played hide-and-seek with the children and then went into a signal box and pulled the lever, switching Gordon to the branch line. He dresses exactly like Sir Topham but has a moustache. It is unknown how and why he got his knighthood. Sir Topham Hatt only appears in the series' 13-episode Double Trouble. Butler Sir Topham Hatt has a butler who is featured in the Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends TV series. He has appeared in only 2 stories, Thomas in Trouble in Season 1, and Fergus Breaks the Rules, in Season 7. In real life, Day Out with Thomas events are a popular way of raising money for heritage railways. These events are an opportunity for children to meet characters from the books and television series. These events are invariably presided over by a fat controller, played by a railway volunteer of appropriate age and build. The copyright holders are strict about how these volunteers should appear. The South Devon Railway's fat controller was forced to either quit or shave off his beard, and it is absolutely forbidden for a fat controller to be too thin. In the United States, on the other hand, he is often portrayed by a person in a costume. For Channel 5 Milkshake the role is played by robust Steve Coffey, much to the disappointment of his wife Tracy. He also starred as Humpty Dumpty for many years. Other uses of the name Fat Controller, in Series 3, Episode 2 of To the Manor Born, during a meeting to protest the closing of the local railway station, the rector loses his temper with an overweight representative of British Rail, played by Richard Thorpe, and refers to him as the Fat Controller. In Australia the term Fat Controller is also used to describe someone working within the finance industry, usually the financial manager of a company, similar to the terminology Fat Cat being used to describe people relating to government. The name Fat Controller has also been given to a student magazine, an electronic snow glove and at least one public house in the United Kingdom. It is also the nickname of Samuel Northcliffe, the malevolent influence on the life of protagonist Ian Wharton in British novelist Will Self's 1993 novel My Idea of Fun. The British alternative rock band Catherine Will recorded the song Here Comes the Fat Controller on their 1997 album, Adam and Eve. Electronic musician Squarepusher has a song called Fat Controller on his album Hard Normal Daddy. In software development, Fat Controller is the name of an ant pattern related to MVC. Opposite of Skinny Controller. References. External links: The Real Lives of Thomas Page on the Fat Controller.